Hello, and welcome back to my Purple Song Home, where I give you some tips and tricks on surviving this world. Because let me tell you, it's a tough one. That was kind of scary, but it's a tough one. So I'm sitting here on this gloomy day. It is cold as literally ice. It's so cold outside. Yesterday I was running around in the cold. I went to my goddaughter's birthday party, had a great time there, and went to my parents' house, hung out with them for a little bit, came back here and just collapsed. I was exhausted yesterday. So here, not really snowed in, not really iced in, but I'm just at home chilling, getting ready for Black History Month, putting together some good content, some good video ideas that I have for next month, and I pray that you will like them. I'm putting a lot of thought in careful consideration on what I'm actually going to be talking about. Things that are important to me and things that you might be struggling with as a Black American. And so, yeah, I'm excited about next month. I don't know if you remember the other week when I was talking about how I'm different and some people in my life have either stopped talking to me, or new people that I meet, they don't quite know what box to put me in because of my religion, my beliefs, my religious beliefs, or the content that I create. And to that I say, I'm okay. So I did, after that video, I made my tortilla soup that I said I was going to make, my chicken tortilla soup. And it got me to thinking about how I used to, once upon a time, love to cook. Like I cooked often, and I had stopped doing that. And then I equated me cooking to being with a man. And really, that's the only time that I did it. Let's talk about it. So cooking is caring, right? So cooking is grounding, cooking is prayer, cooking is comfort. And I'm big on comfort, making your home comfort, especially when life feels uneasy or noisy or in between. There's a lot going on in the world right now, and cooking can be comfort for a lot of people. If you're in a season of waiting, if things feel unsettled, if you are transitioning spiritually, emotionally, then this video is for you. So go grab a cup of coffee, go grab a cup of tea, and let's get talking about it. So what do I mean by cooking is care? So for me, cooking is not just about preparing a meal. It's about attention. It's about choosing to nurture my mind, my body, my soul, especially when life is unpredictable. Cooking means to me slowing down and being present where you are. Using my hands to ground myself. Creating something that's warm and tangible when emotions feel abstract. There is something deeply comforting about chopping up vegetables, or stirring a pot, or waiting for something to bake, and which I'm gonna bake a cake today. It brings me back into my body, back into the moment, back into peace. Sometimes being still does not mean doing nothing. Sometimes it means doing something that is simple and is intentional. And for me, sometimes that place is in the kitchen. Why does cooking matter during life's transitions? Transitions can be loud. They can be loud mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. You might be waiting on answers, letting go of an old season, stepping into something new, or just trying to find your footing again. When life feels uncertain, cooking gives me a solid to hold on to. It reminds me that I'm provided for. It reminds me that I'm capable. It also reminds me that I care for myself. When I don't know what the next step looks like, I start cooking. I can still nourish myself. I still show up for myself today, and that matters. So in the beginning, I said when I was cooking the meal last week, I had a flashback to when I used to be in the kitchen all the time cooking. So once upon a time, I lived with my ex-boyfriend, and when we were together, I cooked quite often. Because it wasn't just me. He had to eat as well. So I cooked a lot. I cooked for him. I planned meals. I enjoyed it. It felt meaningful, and it was an act of love for me. Cooking was a part of how I showed that I cared, how I nurtured our relationship, how I created a sense of home for not only myself and for him. But after we broke up, he moved out and I stopped cooking. It wasn't intentional. It just happened like that. And at that point, it was just me and my dog Snoopy. So I told myself there's no need to cook anymore. It's just me. And I don't feel like it. And slowly, something that I loved doing, it just disappeared. What I didn't realize at the time was this. I had attached cooking to who I was caring for, instead of remembering that I also deserved care. So looking back and when that relationship ended, I see now that it wasn't just grieving the person that I broke up with, it was grieving the routines that I had as well. The shared meals, the structure, the rhythm of caring for someone else. And instead of continuing that routine for myself, I discontinued it. And I think that many of us do that after a breakup, after a loss, or after a major life change. We withdraw. We stop doing things that once brought us joy, not because we don't love them, but because they're tied to a version of life, a version of ourselves that no longer exists anymore. At that time, I was mourning. And in that time of mourning, I felt that cooking was unnecessary, almost pointless. But healing sometimes looks like reclaiming that what we've lost without needing the same people attached to that. So over time, something shifted in me. I realized I missed cooking, not for someone else, but for myself. I missed the comfort, the creativity, and I learned how to cook again in a new way. And not as an act of service to a partner, but as an act of self-care. Cooking became a way to say, I still matter. My needs still matter. I deserve nourishment, even if it's just me. Rest and care are gifts from God, and I had to relearn how to receive them. So I'm playing a video of me cooking the chicken tortilla soup right now. And as you can see, there is a rhythm. There is a pace to it. It's a flow to it, a repetition. This is honestly where my mind quiets down. Cooking slows down my thoughts when it's a bunch of noise around me. It gives my hands something to do while my spirit exhales. It reminds me that everything does not have to be rushed. And it also reminds me that everything does not have to be figured out right now. There are certain meals that instantly feel like joy to us. They instantly feel like safety or love and being cared for. They're not fancy and they're familiar, just like this chicken soup. I think that everyone has that one meal that feels like home, even when home has changed. So let me ask you this. What is that one meal that brings you joy and comfort, even when life is acting ridiculous? So that meal, that memory matters. That comfort matters. God often meets us in familiarity, in daily bread, in simple provision. One of the biggest lessons I've learned in the kitchen is that perfection is not required for nourishment. Meals do not have to be perfect. Life does not have to be perfect. We don't have to have it all together to be cared for. Sometimes things burn. Sometimes my measurements are off. Sometimes life feels messy. And guess what? That's okay. You're okay. Grace covers imperfect meals. Grace covers imperfect seasons. Grace covers us. God doesn't only show up in big dramatic moments in our lives. He's present here. He's present in my chopping. He's present in my stirring. He's present in my waiting. Sometimes this is actually my prayer time. Not formal, not loud, just quiet gratitude. This is my time to be present and still with God. Sometimes I'll cut on my music. Sometimes I'll just be in silence and just cook. And while I'm praying, I thank Him for provision. I thank Him for creativity. I thank Him for nourishments and the ability to care for myself. Deuteronomy chapter 8 verse 10 says, "When you have eaten and satisfied, praise the Lord your God." Even meals can be worship. Even cooking can be prayer. Cooking grounds us because it engages our senses. It brings us into the present moment. It creates rhythm when life feels chaotic. God designs us with bodies that needs nourishment. Honoring that is not selfish, it's stewardship. So what do you do if you're in a season of transition? I'm glad you asked. If you're in a season of transition, here are a few gentle things that you can do. The first thing is that you can ask, what do I need right now? Not long term, just today. You can create small rituals of care. Cooking can be one of them. Lighting a candle can be another one. Or just simply saying thank you. Invite God into the ordinary. Presence is enough. You can let nourishment be an act of faith. In Matthew chapter 6, verse 11, it says, "Give us today our daily bread." That's daily, not tomorrow, today. If you realize that you stopped doing something that you love, ask why without judgment. Ask who it was attached to. Start small. In my case, one moment, one meal. Invite God into your return. Sometimes new does not mean unfamiliar. Sometimes it means rediscovered. Cooking came back into my life differently than before. Quieter, more intentional, more grounded, and now it feels like prayer again. Not rushed, not perfect, just present. So I'll leave you with this. What's one thing you stopped doing after a transition that you might be ready to return to? And what's one meal that brings you comfort when life feels uncertain? Sometimes care looks like answers. Sometimes it looks like healing. And sometimes it just looks like cooking dinner for yourself. Please remember that you are allowed to slow down. You're allowed to be cared for. And God meets you in the ordinary. I pray that this was for somebody. I was literally in my kitchen and just thinking about, man, I really miss doing this. Like real ingredients. I'm not talking about a two-step dance meal. I'm talking about actual meals with ingredients. I miss doing this. And I've been cooking more and more, and it's felt really, really good. And so I pray that somebody here can relate to this video and start caring for yourself. This is an absolute version of self-care. It's not just doing face routines and exercise, but it's what we are putting in our mind too, because when you're cooking, you are being creative, you're zoning out, you're thanking God, you're praying, you are just caring for what you're putting in your body. And I think that is extremely important. And so we need to start getting back to what makes us happy, what makes us slow down and be reflective. And it's also beneficial to reflect on how far we've come. That's what I was doing that day too. I have come a long way, and I am very much thankful for that. And I appreciate the places God has taken me. All right, so I always end with this saying that, we are given the things that we are given in life because we are strong enough to live them, and that is the God honest truth. God gives us all of these challenges, all these burdens, all these good things, all these bad things, because He knows that we're strong enough to deal with them. He knows that we're strong enough to be able to take on not only the challenges in life, but the great things that happen to us as well. So I just want you to know that everything that you are being dealt with is not by coincidence. It's not by chance. It's God. You are given this life because you are strong enough to live it. Don't forget that. Pass this along to someone that needs to hear it. Comment below. Answer those questions that I put out there. And on this snowy day, wherever you are, it may be sunshine and warm weather where you are, but wherever you are, take the time to think about what are the things that you used to do that you no longer do that was attached to someone or something. And take a hard look at that. Mine was cooking. So I pray this helps you. You got this, and I will see you next week. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to my videos, and I will see you next week. February. I will talk to you later. Bye.